Greetings! Hey everybody, welcome to Spectrasonics. This is our new studio in Pasadena, and this is our first live stream we've ever done. So thank you guys for coming, and yeah, this is going to be really, really fun. So let's see, who's here? Who do we have in the house today? Let's see who's on the internet. Let me see. Oh, BusyWorks Beats. How you doing? Unclean Machine sounds crazy. Awesome. Very, very good. You're going to get to find out a lot more about it today. And who else is here? Who do we got? And also, where are you guys tuning in from? I'm curious, like, what countries are coming from. Hey, Kurt Biscara. That's right, the man. Hey, Kurt. Good to see you, man. Wow, we have Russia. That's incredible.
Russia's in the house?
Russia's in the house. Woo! Is that our one customer there? Awesome. Okay, yeah, so where else? Where are people coming in from? And I'm curious also, does anybody have Sonic extensions yet? Has anybody gotten it? Thiago from Brazil, awesome. Great keyboard player. Man, amazing, all the way from South America. Cool. This is very, very fun to be able to interact with you guys and do this in real time. Yeah, like I said, this is our first time doing this, so it's a totally new kind of experience. Thank you, JS Smash. Glad you're enjoying it. And yeah, so thank you also for the tech crew that's here. We have a whole tech crew. Yeah, guys. And yeah, this is really fun. This is a lot easier than having to do it all on my laptop by myself and you guys watching me look at a screen. All right, so oh man, Adam Hawk says congrats. Adam is the best. I think he said that he complimented you on your installer. Adam used to be our installer guy.
He's raving about it.
He was raving about it. He was the raving guy.
Exactly.
He's the raving guy. So big shout out to the raving guy. All right, Plugin Guru says, hey.
John.
Awesome. Very, very good. So yeah, we got lots of people in the house today. That's awesome. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of do a Q&A session, and you guys are going to get to find out a little bit about the development team. And that's something we haven't ever really done before. We're pretty secretive, as you know, so this is kind of new for us. And but it's been an incredible. It has been an incredible just couple of days for us. Really, really amazing. The launch was amazingly successful yesterday and was really, really exciting for us. So this is a very special time for us because we've been preparing for this for many, many years. And this is the first time we've ever launched 4 products at once. First time in history. Shout out to Portugal, Alvaro. Fantastic, awesome. People are tuning in from all over the place. So we're also going to do a giveaway today that we did not announce. So it's a surprise giveaway. And one person is going to get all 4 Sonic extensions. And so we're going to do a little contest here, but you got to be sharp. Okay, so this is how it's going to work. The very first person in the chat that identifies a certain artist, I'm going to give you a hint in just a second. The first person to identify this artist in the chat is going to win all 4 Sonic extensions. And what you need to do is the album covers that are behind us on the wall are 2 very famous electronic music albums from the same artist. And this artist is not nearly as well known as they should be. And so the first person who can identify the artist, at least, and hopefully the actual albums, will win the 4 Sonic extensions. So we'll announce this at the end who won. So you guys have some time to try to figure it out. And I'll give you another hint. This person is also not only a legendary electronic artist, but it's also a big fan of Omnisphere and is one of our customers too, and one of my biggest heroes. So see if you can figure it out, and whoever figures it out gets all 4 Sonic extensions. So that's pretty cool. Hey, shout out to Vulture Culture. Fantastic, did some incredible reviews on YouTube already, and totally amazing. And Jason from Rocky Mountain Sounds, world's greatest Omnisphere fan. He runs the World of Omnisphere, Woo, and which tracks all the third-party libraries. And what are we up to now? Is it?
Oh, it's like over 300 or something like that. It's hundreds.
Is it 600 or something insane?
Jason, hats off to you for
thank you, Jason,
undertaking that project.
And so yes, great to have you here too. So yeah, so this is an exciting time, and especially Ryland Allison. Ryland Allison is in the chat. Yeah, fantastic. Bob introduced Ryland to me way, way back in the day, and we did Distorted Reality together. So that's really, really, really cool. So if you know anything about Spectrasonics history, Ryland is a dear friend and a wonderful sound designer. So it's great to have him. This is amazing. This is very, very cool. Okay, so today is a fantastic opportunity to get to meet some of the amazingly talented people that are behind Spectrasonics products, and specifically Sonic extensions. And this is really nice for me because because I'm the guy demoing, and I'm the face of the company. I usually get all the credit, but I get a lot of credit that I don't deserve. So it's really great to be able to spread the love around today, and let you guys meet some of the creators and developers and artisans that are behind Sonic extensions. So, hey, also Squeak Scale is in the house. Cedric! Yay! Cedric did an amazing job. If you haven't seen the walkthroughs, Cedric's walkthrough demos for Unclean Machine and Seismic Shock are awesome. We had a great time with him. And he also did some fantastic sound demos.
That's right.
Too, which some of those you were hearing up at the top. So I don't even know if Cedric has heard all of our remixes on those.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Well,
so, but there's some killer stuff. So shout out to Cedric. So okay, well let's meet the SE team. So these are the dudes behind SE. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go just kind of around the horn, and we'll have a little conversation with each one of them, and we'll talk about their whole thing. So we're going to start with the amazing Bob Daspit that is in the house. Woo! Okay. Yeah, Bob.
Come on.
All right. So Bob is a fantastic sound designer / guitarist / producer.
I'm a slash guy.
You're a slash guy, songwriter, you name it. He does tons of different things. And man, we have a long history. Of all of us, we have the longest history.
Yeah. Coming up on, what, math, right? 30.
No, we don't want to say what it is. We don't want to say it out loud.
Decades.
It's too dangerous.
We can date it in
decades.
decades.
Yes, that's right. But man, it's been an amazing journey. We started together at a little more of the story that's not in the behind the scenes video on the site is when I said that Bob was snookered into being my roadie.
We had a mutual friend.
We had a mutual friend who will go unnamed.
Introduced us.
And this was for a advanced synthesis class that I was teaching at a well-known university in Los Angeles on the west side that will go unnamed.
I was super excited about that gig too,
Yeah.
because I figured, well, I can take the class for free, audit the class, and
So
easy, no problem.
So I was excited to teach it, and I was told it was going to be very serious and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, so like advanced synthesis, we're going to need synths, we're going to need gear, and then the university said, oh, we don't have any synths, and it's like, so how am I supposed to teach the history of synthesis and all these things without a gear? People need to hear it. We can't just talk about it. And so then we found out, okay, so I guess, well, I'll bring my gear to the class, for the first time, and it's, okay, we'll do that. And back in those days, I had huge racks, just gigantic, massive.
Couple of refrigerators.
Yeah, a couple of refrigerators.
Unexpected
gear,
when I watched.
PPGs, and all this kind of stuff. And so the first class or two, I had my cartage guy do it, who did all my sessions and stuff back then. But I was getting paid $50 to teach the class, each class, and then my cartage was $250. So it was costing me $200 a lesson, class to teach. I'm like, this is not going to work. And so, so the guy running the program said, oh, there's this guy, and
got a guy.
I got a guy, and he's he's like 19, and it's going to be great. And so anyway, so Bob shows up at my house. And he's got his parents' van, and he sees the racks.
The Plymouth Voyager.
The Plymouth Voyager, yeah. Yep. And it's like, I'm like, you're going to lift these racks?
I was undaunted, by the way.
Yeah, right. You're going to scratch my parents' car. So anyway, so that was...
We wrestled it in there.
Yeah, you were 19, and then that's how we met. And then you were taking the class as, payment, I guess, for that.
Oh, the class was awesome, too. It was great.
It was fun. It was really fun. And
that was my synthesis education.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, fantastic.
Crash course, yeah.
So that was the beginning, and then that was right when Roland R&D started in Culver City.
Yep.
And so that was so there was a Los Angeles branch of Roland Japan, and we were just getting started, and so we needed help, and I said, yeah, you want to come work for Roland? And he was like, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a philosophy student. I might as well.
Makes sense.
It makes sense. And so we, so Bob started coming over, and then we were working on the JD800.
Yeah.
Right. That was the first project.
One. Yep.
And so we designed the JD800 in Culver City. A lot of people don't know that.
Yep.
And that was 30 years ago.
Yeah. I remember that first prototype was jet black.
It was jet black.
Man,
That's right. It looked great.
Slick.
Yeah, it was a different color.
Yeah. I mean, the brown was cool too, but that black one was
pretty
really
nice.
Yeah.
So so we worked on the JD800, and then of course we did all of the Roland sample libraries together. So any of the Roland fans, hey, we got a shout out and love for West Coast pedal in the chat. That's Bob's.
Thank you very much.
Company. He makes amazing pedals.
Yep.
So so that was the beginning of the Roland adventure, and we did tons and tons of different products, rhythm instruments, and
I just remember the orchestral family volumes
oh
1
my
and 2.
gosh, I'm sweating just thinking about it.
Yeah, we spent 3 days at your house, putting that together.
That's right, on the Cyquist cartridges.
Yeah, and we had the master drive, that 600 megabyte drive.
600 megabyte.
Which was like this brick, it was this huge brick, and
that was before we had the CD writer even.
Yeah, that was way before that.
Wow.
And it took us 3 days. I slept on your couch in the
studio. Yeah, you
did. And it was so nerve-wracking to get that thing together that, you guys stuck me on a plane to Japan to have it mastered.
Oh my God.
And I had to hand carry it like a baby on the plane.
We
had a serious discussion about, are we going to buy a seat for the drive?
We're going to buy a seat. Yeah, was that magneto-optical, or was it?
No, it was a hard drive. Yeah, a spinning hard drive.
Right, but we didn't. Hey, Elmar Rodig says Nylon Sky is fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's that's crazy.
Yeah, just don't drop the drive.
Yeah, and then I remember the day that they bought, the R&D bought the first CD writer, and it was $25,000.
That was a big deal.
I think it took making a CD was like 8 hours or something.
Yeah. Well, the CDs were like $100 each.
No, they were $300.
Yeah.
$300 for a blank disc. And then I think the error rate was like maybe 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
So it took maybe 2 weeks to write a CD and get one that would actually work. But we were like, we made a CD.
Yeah.
So anyway, as you can tell.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Ryland said, okay,
that's real.
We were talking about that last night. Yeah, amazing. That's totally, awesome. Fantastic. So, so we've been down a few roads together.
Yes, indeed. It's been a while.
It has been a while. So anyway, so how that relates to Spectrasonics is Bob was there at the very beginning of Spectrasonics when I had wanted to make a bass library. I had the idea for Bass Legends, but I could tell that Roland didn't really understand how to sell that kind of thing. And because they're marketed with the Boss socks and the shoelaces.
Yep.
And it's like, and they're wondering why it doesn't sell. So I was moaning about it and to Lori, my wife, and Lori was the one that said, well, why don't we do it ourselves? Like, what do you mean do it ourselves? And she said, well, you probably know 200 musicians in LA that would buy something like that. And I'm like, really? Like, we would have our own company and everything? And so that's how the company started. And at the same time, we had already loaned you out to Hans Zimmer.
Yep.
And he had gotten you started on like sampling his guitars and gave you permission to use
it's
the
funny
library.
because I don't actually remember how that started, other than, obviously I was doing sampling, but I don't remember the moment where it was like, should we try, maybe we should sample a guitar, and I don't remember that happening. It was just sort of like one day they weren't there, and then the next day he had a bunch of guitars to play,
and so and then you were thinking, maybe I could sell this or something.
Yeah.
And it was the same time I was trying to figure out the Bass Legends thing, and we said, well, why don't we chip in and
join forces
and do it together? Maybe we can afford like a third of a page black and white ad in Keyboard Magazine and have it run once.
Yeah.
And then we'll sell our 200 copies. We'll have enough to fix our Honda. I don't remember what you were going to do with here.
I was hoping to make, a couple $1,000s on that.
And that was kind of the whole idea.
Yeah.
And then we found out, oh gosh, like to have a business you need like more than a couple products.
Yeah, it's sort of.
And that was how Spectrasonics started.
Yeah. And it was just rolling before kind of we even knew what was happening.
Totally.
Like, oh wow, this is real.
And we have been learning on the fly ever since. So yeah, so Bob was right there in the very, very beginning, and basically helped us launch the company, which is an amazing, amazing thing. And then you've been involved in tons of Spectrasonics products. Of course, Hans Zimmer guitars, Volume 1 and 2. Those were your products. Initially, you were involved in Heart of Africa too.
Yep.
With Bobby Summerfield.
Yep.
In the video.
Yep. Love Bobby.
Yeah, love Bobby. And then then we got into the groove control.
Oh yeah.
Stuff. Some of these things we don't want to remember.
Yeah, that one's a little PTSD.
Yeah, a little PTSD. So, sorry for triggering you. But yeah, so you were involved in all the groove control stuff, and then of course when we made the jump to virtual instruments in 2000, and between 2000 and 2002, that was when we decided to not do sample libraries anymore, but we thought that this idea of using the computer and software to create like high-end virtual instruments that were universal, that worked for everybody. And so, so you were super involved in the original stylus. I think you did all of the groove control work, I believe. And then Trilogy. You did all of the editing.
Yeah.
A
lot of detail work.
A lot of detail work, yeah. So, and then of course that that grew into Trillion, which was a massive project. And,
another fun one.
Yep, and Stylus RMX.
Played a little bit on Trillion too.
That's right.
Cool.
That's right. The clean fender.
And the Chapman stick.
And the Chapman stick. Yeah, that's right. It's Michael's Chapman stick.
Yes. I'm not the owner of the Chapman
stick. The owner of the Chapman stick. Bob was put all that together. So so all of that, all the way, and then we brought a lot of those original sounds into Omnisphere, and so now here we are, all this time later, and we have sonic extensions.
Still going, yeah.
Yeah, still going, and really, like we said in the video, bringing this stuff to the next level, next generation.
Absolutely.
It was kind of fun, I think, in the walkthrough, showing the Nylon Sky and the original classic Nylon.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that was always a challenge, right? Like, how do we get this, like, we want to put some massive instruments in here, but it doesn't really make sense in the context of, the other thousands of sounds that need to be in there, so.
Yeah, what's the, what's the size on Nylon?
I'm not sure, 10 gigs?
10 gigs.
10 gigs, yeah. So, so having one guitar that's 10 gigs, that doesn't make as much sense in an instrument that's 60, that 1/6 of the. So that's one of the things that is great about sonic extensions, is being able to really focus like on one sound.
Yeah, definitely.
Do like a super, super high-end version of it, and have that be an a la carte thing that you can get.
Just
into.
Having Omnisphere as the engine too. It's it's not just play this sound back like any other sampler. I mean, it's got all the Omnisphere goodness on top of it.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's really, really nice to be able to marry those two things.
For sure, and it's amazing that the entire journey of sonic extensions, all of the ups and downs, you have been there since the very, very beginning. So,
do you want to say how long?
Well, okay, we'll reveal it. It's we started in 2010.
Yes,
and it's gone through a lot of changes. So, 11 years later, and.
Ignacio didn't have children when we started.
That's right.
I was not a parent yet. Yes.
Yeah, so it's been a long, long journey, and we will own that Spectrasonics is not the fastest company, but hopefully we do good work, and the stuff lasts for a long time. So we have projects that are very long in the works.
What did we say? We operate on more of like a glacial scale,
yes,
or perhaps tectonic.
Tectonic, like the tectonic scale.
Plates shifting.
Yes, exactly. So so your role in getting this going and seeing it through all the changes is totally great. Tell us about the history of the guitar that you sampled for Nylon Sky. What's the brand of it?
It's a Ramirez.
Beautiful, yeah.
I forgot the exact model number, but I can post it somewhere.
Yeah,
if
there you
cares.
go, for the geeks.
But
Didn't you use that one on, was it Mission Impossible?
Mission Impossible 2.
Aha, okay.
And I was not the only guitar player on that movie. Just, there were other players and other guitars represented. But that one is on
all
there.
The good parts, though.
Yes, all the good parts. If you like it, it's me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that guitar. I picked it out. This was around maybe the mid to late '90s, and I picked it out because I was doing a lot of sessions at the time, and I was looking for a guitar that a lot of nylon strings have a real kind of boomy low end, especially the low E string, and I was looking for a guitar specifically that was very even, all the way across the range, and so I spent, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months just looking for a guitar that I thought was really, really well balanced, and because a lot of what I was doing was more, like high note stuff, like melodies and that kind of thing. So I wanted something that sounded really full on the treble end, but not totally overwhelming on the bass end, so that you didn't have to EQ it a lot, or it was kind of ready to go.
The instrument itself is
and
a lot of. I think that's something that a lot of kind of newer producers don't understand as much. Is like, because there are so many tools, and how many analyzers we're going to put on things,
right?
Frequency, spectrum, this, and it's like a lot of what we do is at the instrument level.
Just better to get it at the
source.
source.
Getting the instrument to sound amazing.
Yeah, and so that's I've used that guitar a lot over the years, more so back in the late '90s, early 2000s on projects that anybody would know, but what's cool about a guitar like that is, of course, as it ages, it's been whatever, 20 years, 20 plus years, the wood dries out a little bit, even though there's a finish on it, and the cells in the wood expand, and there's more air in there. So as the guitar ages, it starts to get a little more resonance.
Like the wine breathing.
It's exactly, yes. It's just aging over time and sounding better and better as time goes by. Wow. So technically, the Sonic Extensions version of that guitar sounds better than it did when I was using it on sessions back in the day.
Nice,
so,
nice.
Yeah, little
is that
added
true
mojo.
Is that true of every kind of acoustic guitar, or is that something that's like certain brands, or?
Yeah, I mean, most of the traditional ones will settle in like that over time. I mean, some companies will like pre-tension the braces underneath the top to give it a little extra resonance when you first buy the guitar. But unfortunately, over time, those will sound actually worse and worse because the braces lose the springiness.
Right.
So yeah, but all the traditional companies do it the old way, and those guitars will just sound better and better over time. But of course, now that it's sampled in Sonic Extensions, it's never going to change. That's fixed. So yeah, the digital version is
awesome.
Going to remain.
Sample it again in 20 years.
There you go. That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, the different decade editions. That's awesome. But I mean, that's an example of like that kind of knowledge that you have, and that kind of appreciation for the tone. That there are a lot of acoustic guitars, and there's a lot of acoustic guitar samples and all that kind of stuff. But like, the kind of dedication we put in. I mean, I couldn't believe how many picks you sent me, different versions of picks that you used, and all the different things.
We have to try them all, right?
What was it? You had the glue on your fingers. What was that?
Yeah, I was doing acrylics for a while. That was a couple of my Nashville friends. A lot of the Nashville guys use acrylics, and so I had 2 acrylics for a while. Actually 3. I had these 3 fingers. But I gave up on that eventually, and just over the years I have just a vast array of picks made out of different materials and thicknesses.
It was exhausting, let me just tell you, to choose. It's like, here are all of these options we could do.
And of course, I mean, most people play, nylon string guitar, you play with your fingers.
Yes.
Technically,
right.
That's the way to do it, but for what I did, I mean, playing melodies up high on the neck, I mean, a lot of times just the pick just sounded better to me. So anyway, I'm just glad we, have both of those articulations represented. You know,
and the fingernail.
And the fingernail, yeah.
Yeah, so
but natural, these natural fingernails.
Natural fingernails, okay. We're not doing acrylics.
No more acrylics,
okay.
It dulled the tone.
I remember you sent me both. And like when you let them grow out again and all that. So this is why things take time.
I mean, at the
you
end
gotta
of
let
the
the
day,
nails grow.
nails have to grow. The real nail sounds the best.
It did, and it really did. It sounded better than the acrylic, so what can you say? So I think people are already getting that we're a little insane the way we do stuff. But that's why it's
Well, if you're going to do it. Right?
If you're going to do it serious.
I'm already here.
Absolutely. I remember the moment that we got to reveal the sky effects. That was a really nice moment.
Yeah.
Getting to hear. What was that like for you? Like when you were hearing it?
Oh, well, I've been, of course, wanting a nice shimmer in Omnisphere forever, and so. But hearing, and I've tried every other shimmer pretty much that's out there, but. I don't know. There was something about that one. It's a little darker, a little more. There's a subtlety to it that really struck me as, more organic sounding. Or whatever adjective you want to use. But it was just so beautiful.
It paired nicely with the guitar.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, it was like it was designed for it.
Yeah, exactly. Which it was. And I think that's something that people don't quite realize yet is like the level of detail, like the Unclean channel, we tuned the frequencies to that guitar so that it's like when you kick in those it just sounds amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
On that guitar.
You can just take that treble knob and just crank it,
Sounds great.
Sounds great.
And the low cut button on Sky.
Yeah, it's really cool. So you can have the sort of fuller thing and then in a single click, it sounds great.
Yep.
So that's the idea. Making great sounds.
Indeed.
So what is this experience like for you? Like just being here today and
oh man.
I know that's a hard question to ask.
First of all, of course I haven't seen any of you guys in person for 2 years. You know? So it's wild being back again.
Totally.
It's wonderful to see everybody, of course, but everybody says we're living in weird times, and
that is for sure.
Really feeling that now.
Yeah.
But so happy to be back, and just
awesome.
I can't believe the product is out after all these years, and
I know.
we can talk about it. It's freeing, to be able to just tell people this is actually, I've been working on this thing for a while. So,
Keeping it a secret
it's been nice.
for 11 years.
Yes, it's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
And by the way, I just want to interject one thing. You do deserve the credit. You said you didn't deserve credit.
No.
You deserve every bit of credit coming your way. So,
thank you. That's sweet. But anyway, I just appreciate you coming down.
Oh man,
and
my absolute
it's very
pleasure.
special to have you here.
Yeah.
And
wouldn't have missed it for the world.
Yeah, thanks for doing this.
Cool.
Thanks
my pleasure.
This. Awesome. All right, hey, we got some more shout outs from people. Our good friend Tobias from Sweden. Amazing dude, and also an amazing sound designer who is a major contributor to Omnisphere and the core library. A genius, definite genius. It is so cool to see Tobe. And we've got Rob Brinkworth says hi, and we've got greetings from France. All kinds of people coming in. So thank you guys for tuning in. This is a lot of fun. And so we're gonna move on and talk to Ignacio Longo. Yay!
Ignacio.
Hello.
All right. Ignacio is the vice president of Spectrasonics and the artisan of Undercurrent. And so that is really, really exciting. So tell us, what year did you join Spectrasonics? I don't remember. It's been a long time.
2005, I think.
2005, yeah. So that was like right at maybe RMX 1.5.
Right before we released that. Yes.
Yeah. So that was your first project.
My first project.
That is fantastic, man. And so, I remember I was thinking about how we got connected, and it was Dave Mash.
Dave Mash from Berkeley.
Dave Mash from Berkeley.
Yes, indeed.
And you had gone straight from Argentina, which is where you're from.
Yes.
and you had gone straight from there into Berkeley.
Yep.
And what did you study at Berkeley?
Composition and music synthesis, which now it changed the name.
Electronic production and design.
Electronic production and design.
Yeah.
So that is much easier to explain to somebody who doesn't know what music synthesis is.
Yeah, right.
Which was always a confusing conversation. But yeah, so.
I remember you sent a Max MSP project. Yeah. And that was like, wow.
No,
that was that was along with your resume, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it was this sort of live processing thing, triggering samples, running through Max MSP's effects, all with the idea of playing electronic music live. And
wow.
That was I think it was, if not my final project there, it was kind of close. But yeah, those
Omnisphere is easier.
Yeah, not to say different.
Yes, of course it's different, of course. So, so you started in 2005, and then you've been involved in everything, since then. So I checked, and I think a lot of people don't know this, but you have the second most patches in the Omnisphere core library to me.
So, wow, I didn't even know that.
Yes, I looked it up this morning because I thought, you maybe have more.
No.
So basically, if you like Omnisphere, you like Ignacio's work.
Wow.
Because his work is all over it, and sound sources and patches and just everything that we do. So he's been here through Trillion and all of the development of all of our own engines, like the steam engine, and it's been an incredible journey, and of course Keyscape,
indeed.
And I think, and that's a good example of like why you're so awesome at what you do is you are studying classical piano. Mm-hmm. And your two loves are like classical piano and like Depeche Mode.
Yep.
And I thought, now that is a weird combination. I need to meet this guy.
Yeah.
And so that's a perfect example of like, you can work on a product like Keyscape, and you understand it as a pianist, and really want to having a fine instrument, and then you're a synth guy. And you're totally into synths and modular and all the gear and everything. So, so Ignacio's, his fingers are in literally everything that we do. And man, it's just, your contribution is like incredible. And
thank you. Very proud of it.
One of the things that's most exciting to me really about Sonic Extensions is people being able to get to know you better, which I know you don't like. But it's about time. It really is about time, because your creative contribution and everything is so incredible. So
thank you.
Yes, thank you for
appreciate
agreeing.
the opportunity.
Thank you for agreeing to do the Sonic Extension.
They told me not to look at the camera, but.
Awesome. So your role in Sonic Extensions has been, also from the beginning.
Yeah,
and
we used to talk a lot about it.
Yes, we did.
All the different incarnations. We won't bore you with all of the different versions, but let's just say it crashed and burned a few times.
Yeah, for sure.
Before it got to this point. And I think one of the things you and I have talked about recently is just, it's really nice to be at this point where like we got it, we figured it out.
Yeah.
And it's such a relief, and the combination of the effects and the custom controls, and all of this like stuff that grew over time, it's just a complete idea now.
Yeah.
And it's satisfying. It's really satisfying, because like the journey has been hard. It has not been an easy
Definitely.
road. It's actually been one of the hardest things we've done, I think.
Yep. I mean, yes. No, absolutely. But, to see how much the steam engine just improved.
Yeah, it's amazing.
having looked at the steam engine for the last, since 2008 or before.
Yeah, right.
Every single day, worked on it.
Yeah.
With everybody, obviously, and software, indeed. You could say, just we need a change, but we made it progressively better and better.
That's
and
right.
better. And
yeah.
every little function we add,
right,
it just opens up the door for more experiments, more creative things. From obscure modulation sources like bias to duplicating the amount of layers we have per patch.
Yeah.
To hardware synth integration, to new effects,
right.
and now it's like extension.
Effects.
Yes, modulation of effects, to custom controls, which is only it's the latest improvement. But from the beginning, and even through the satellite instruments, Keyscape and Trillion, those also helped making the steam engine better. So it's very rewarding to be here today and to see how far we've come.
Yeah, totally. I was going to ask you about the challenge of creating Undercurrent when you we've talked about this a lot, when you've already put your sound on Omnisphere, and we've both done so many patches. One of the things that's really challenging is like, okay, so I've already done all that stuff. Now what? And so I know that was a big part of Undercurrent, right?
Yeah, that was a huge part of, okay, I want to do this, but I don't want to repeat myself,
right.
or just look for a different angle. And this time, not only sticking to a certain mood and certain aesthetic helped, but also, having custom controls. It's just creatively, it's like, it's incredible. And giving users the possibility of making, adjustments you would normally want. Like, we need an attack and a release, at least on a pad, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you want things to surprise you. So, whether it's the pulse thing or such just some anxiety knob or whatever it's happening in the sound, it just, it's creatively fulfilling for me, even after having done all those patches over the years.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it will be creatively fulfilling for users as well, and they will get to use those sounds to make nice things.
Yeah,
I hope.
Absolutely. I think that's something that there's so many new ideas in sonic extensions that it's, especially that first day that we saw yesterday, it hasn't quite sunk in all the innovations and all the different things that are brand new. And I think custom controls is definitely one of those things. It's like, okay, it has an interface. Well, it's different. It has an interface for every patch.
Yeah.
Every single patch can be its entire, its own thing. And every control, you were kind of touching on it, every control can be like a little universe too. So tell them what you can do, like not what we can do. It's part of our development process, but explain like what those controls are doing.
Well, they are assigned to tons of parameters in Omnisphere, but they are assigned in a way that they're either scaled or, doing different things that you wouldn't normally do or wouldn't be able to do from a single control. They're not even in the same page.
It's not the same as like MIDI learning something.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah, it's much more in depth.
Much more. So I'm sure, everyone who work here on custom controls found themselves in the same situation of being like, wow, like I'm doing this, which for us is like, I'm doing this. Yeah. But the end result, when you put it together, when you're playing a sound, when you're changing it, and when you're working in a piece of music, and you need this whatever thing that comes to your head, and it's in a button right there, and it's in a knob. Oh, sure, and you can move on, and create a piece of music without getting too deep into the programming. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think one of the things is, and this is something that like the sound designers out there will appreciate, is that with synthesizers and engines and effects and everything, there's sweet spots, right? Especially like, depending on where, what your source is and like what that effect is, like this range of the control does something amazing. But outside that range, not so much.
Yep.
And this is, I think it's especially true with digital software instruments.
Totally.
Analog stuff is a little more forgiving.
Yeah.
But with digital stuff, it's like, wow, man, what's happening right here? Maybe just this little part of it is like amazing harmonics start happening. So, so with sonic extensions and custom controls, the sound designer, the artisan like you, can decide, I'm just going to feature this, this sweet spot, and then I'm going to add another control. I'm going to have that same knob control another thing in its sweet spot.
Yes.
And then at the very end, I'm going to bring in a whole other thing that happens, and it's like, and then you've got this incredible knob that's going like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why we're in the videos. We're like, try the custom controls, please.
Yes.
Because they're so cool. It's not like a normal Omnisphere patch.
Yes.
And this is also why custom controls are limited to sonic extension products, because it takes a massive amount of time and care, to really like. You're designing like a little product with each knob.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. You have to use your ears. There's no rules about it other than that. And and the end result is just magic.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And those are things that are hard to put into a bullet point.
Yep.
Until you try it.
Yeah.
And so that's really, really cool. Talk a little bit about the under echo and under fire effects.
I love them.
Which is good, because you should be sick of them by now, right? But you're not.
Not quite. Yeah, no, they're great. Under fire, it just goes over the top, and I love that in any piece of gear. I love sweet spots, but I want to know I can go a little over.
Nice.
Because sometimes you need that. It's nice to have sweet spots when the sound is by itself, but sometimes in a piece of music, you just need to go to 11.
There we go.
We're going Spinal Tap. It's all over.
It surely can do that, but it's also a really nice compressor, a really nice EQ. So I recommend people to give it a try to different modes. Pay attention to the EQ signal path menu, and I know I'm getting kind of geeky.
What do you mean,
here.
kind of?
Kind of. Well, we spoke about scaling custom
That's
controls,
true.
I think.
True. Yeah.
It's just very, very powerful. It adds a lot of character to any sound.
Awesome. And
under echo is just crazy. I went around everything through it. I did.
Yeah.
I did actually. Thank you, Matt. The pitch shifter, mixing it with the delay and a reverb, and you have a lot of control over where each thing is in the signal path. It's just amazing, and the ducking at the end, so you can play and still get the notes to translate well without getting washed up in the ambience, and then when you let go, that's when the tail of the echoes and the reverbs come in. It's just wonderful.
Yeah. It really is, and it sounds great on so many different things.
Yeah.
Awesome. That is fantastic. Well, I know this is a big moment coming to this. We were talking about just the pre, having the pre-sonic extensions life, and now post. It's pretty kind of crazy, I think. Just
it's amazing.
To be here.
To be able, I have. So many people, I've been waiting to be able to tell them what we've been working on, and now we're here on the other side. It's wonderful.
That is very, very cool. Well, I appreciate you so much, all that you do for the company, and so excited to be able to launch Undercurrent, and something you worked so hard on, and it's all you. It's all about your thing.
Team effort, come on.
No.
It's not just me.
Yeah, so thank you for doing this and being
pleasure.
here today. And I know it's a treat for everybody to be hearing from you guys. So Awesome stuff. Hey, look at this. We have Poland. We have somebody from Pilsen. We have somebody from Togo. Whoa. Wow, that is amazing. Sweet. And man, just so many people coming in. Thank you guys all for being here. And and just so you know, this is not a this is just our developer chat. This is not a demo of Sonic extensions that we're doing today. That is available on the sonicextensions.com website. There is tons and tons of walkthroughs and demos and sound examples and effects examples. And so please spend time there and check out all of those kinds of things. So we're just here chatting. We're getting a chance to
hanging out
and getting to find out a little bit about the behind the scenes of what Sonic Extensions is about. And so with that in mind, it's time to meet Seth Norman. Yay, Seth!
What's up?
All right, Seth, this is awesome. We can now finally say your actual title.
Yes.
At Spectrasonics, which is Director of Sonic Extensions.
That's right. I've been leading a secret dual life at Spectrasonics for the last 6 years.
That's right. Because Seth is also one of our sound designers who contributes to, a fantastic sound designer who contributes to Omnisphere and Trillion and Keyscape and all kinds of, all of our products, really. And so you started, was it 2015?
Yeah, the end of 2015. I literally went on my honeymoon, and then the day after I got back, just moved to LA from Portland, Oregon, where I had lived my entire life.
Awesome. And Seth is one of the very few people that we actually sought out to come to work for Spectrasonics.
Yeah, which I can't believe. It's such an incredible honor because before I joined Spectrasonics, I was just a huge fan.
Oh man!
It was a part of my daily life, working in post-production for TV and film. I was using Omnisphere all the time, and then I started making my own third-party sound library.
Right. Yes.
And I think that's kind of how I popped up on the radar.
Yeah. Toxic Omnisphere.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Shout out to John Skippy for releasing that.
And you know what? What really blew me away was, I've heard lots of Omnisphere patches, and it's very hard for me to be surprised by anybody. But I remember when I checked out Toxic Omnisphere, I'm like, wait, how are you doing that? How are you getting those incredible, dramatic, these bending and stretching effects and stuff? It's like I had to dig in and hey, what's he doing there to get that? So and then we got you on the beta team.
Yes.
And
Omnisphere 2.
Yes, and so Seth is a fantastic beta tester, and we're like, we need this guy on the team.
Well,
we need this guy on the team.
I had to pry my mouth off the floor with a spatula when you reached out to me after the beta test. I was like, wait, no, really? So just an unbelievable honor to work with you guys after just having been totally in awe of your work for so long.
Come on now.
So yeah, even to this day, I feel like I'm, it's unbelievable that I get to do this for a living. But so part of our first conversations about me working at Spectrasonics were about Sonic Extensions.
That's right. We're like, we got this thing, and it's a big job, and it's a big project. We're trying to do this in parallel with all the other things we do. And so that's an important thing that people understand, is that this is not what we're doing instead of making our virtual instruments and our upgrades and all that kind of stuff, but in addition to. So we really needed to expand the team and have somebody kind of spearhead it and keep things moving. Right. And so, Seth was perfect for that. Yeah. So we started working on that, and it's been a secret for all these years.
Yeah. It's been pretty wild. I'm very impressed with how good we are at keeping the lid on things.
It's nuts. Yeah. Nobody found out about Keyscape for 10 years. Nobody found out about Sonic Extensions for 11 years. So that's
pretty insane.
Ooh, fingers crossed. Keep it that way. But so it's so exciting to be at this point.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's totally just crazy. So, did I miss anything else that you've worked on? You worked on everything we've done since then.
Well, yeah, worked on Omnisphere. I mean, actually, the first thing I really worked on was the Keyscape Creative Library.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of my first major contribution to the sounds.
Yeah.
In Omnisphere, because that's an Omnisphere.
Yeah.
Part of Keyscape. I contributed some sounds to Omnisphere 2 just as part of the beta.
Yeah.
But then, I worked on the Tribute update.
Yeah. The Tribute 2.
Yeah,
that fantastic.
That was a lot of fun.
Trillion 1.5?
Yes, a bit. And then of course the hardware library.
Yep.
In Omnisphere 2.5, 2.6. So yeah, I mean, it's just been, it's such a pleasure to be able to contribute to this, tapestry of sound design that the
Spectrasonics that's a good way. I like saying it that way. That's a nice way of saying it, because like we were talking about, it's so difficult, you have your style, you have your taste, your approach, and then you're trying to expand that, and that's one of the things that's great about being on this sound development team is that you have no choice. You have to grow.
Absolutely.
You can't repeat yourself.
Yeah.
You have to keep going, and it's a great creative challenge.
Yeah.
But it also helps having people that have a real different style.
Totally.
Like Seth's style is very different than mine, very different than Ignacio's.
But I have to
complements it really well.
Absolutely. But the fact that so many different kinds of styles can coexist within one product is really a testament to just the power and flexibility of Omnisphere as an instrument. The fact that it's capable of doing all of these different kinds of sounds equally well. Omnisphere has this reputation for atmospheric sounds and pads and cinematic textures, but it
did come from Atmosphere originally.
Exactly. But it's just due to the fidelity of the sound engine and just how musically it's thought out and constructed. You can do so many things with it. And a huge part of the inspiration for me, both when I started putting out third-party libraries and now making Seismic Shock for sonic extensions, is I really wanted to get everybody on the same page about how awesome Omnisphere is for making like extremely heavy electronic music. Because that was apparent to me from day one. I was using Omnisphere 1 to make like gnarly bass noises.
Right.
And that was
Omnisphere 1?
That was.
Wow.
Or, I mean, 1.5.
Yeah.
Right before.
That's impressive.
It was before Omnisphere 2.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's always been kind of like, I'm trying to be an evangelist for using Omnisphere to make like heavy dubstep.
Nice.
Because it's so amazing for that because of just how great the DSP is, and also just how good the effects sound. Because this is a genre of music that's very effect orientated.
Right.
And so just having like top-notch EQs, distortions, modulations, that's all essential to having a really huge sound coming right out of the instrument.
Yeah, right.
And so it's been so fun to put together Seismic Shock because I feel like I'm really able to make my statement.
It's a statement, man.
Yeah. It's like if you're making like heavy electronic music, it's amazing for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then it was interesting, I think, in the whole process of it, just how we kind of expanded that concept of Seismic.
Yes.
To just be wider and wider.
Yeah.
But staying with heavy and epic.
Right.
That's what Seismic means. But then kind of applying that to even pads and all kinds of stuff.
There was an iteration of Seismic Shock that was literally just like distorted bass sounds.
Right. It's like it's a bit much.
Yeah, which I loved, but it was like, but that's another great thing about working with this team is kind of like the diversity of ideas and musical tastes, helping to sort of like open these things up into being a bit more broadly appealing while still retaining that kind of core sonic identity. So, and I'm really happy we did that because now, you can use Seismic in like a wide variety of styles. It's not just the most hardcore of dubstep, although you can do that too.
Of course.
It's got so much more breadth as a product because of that.
That was fun when Cedric came.
Yeah, Cedric. Like, shout out Cedric.
Hearing him do like R&B tracks.
Insane.
It was like,
you can
that's Seismic?
You can write a slow jam with.
Yes. Yeah. So that was nice for us to see that, and it kind of was like proof of concept.
Totally. Absolutely.
Where it's like, okay, this yes, it's in this area, but it's still very, very broad.
Totally.
And as long as you're okay with big and heavy.
Yeah.
Epic. Everything's epic.
But I'm really glad that there's something there more for like trap producers, hip hop producers,
absolutely.
because I love trap and hip hop. I tend to go heavier than that in my own music, but it's like I know that there's a great crossover there, and Cedric really helped us show that off.
Yeah,
he's an amazing trap producer.
Yeah, so cool. So we've gotten to, if you haven't seen the behind the scenes of Seismic and the NASA story, we have to talk about it.
Oh yeah. That was quite the journey.
So especially since we're in Pasadena, why don't
Very
you tell
topical.
us how this came about? So you just said, yeah, I went to NASA.
Downplayed it a little bit.
But yeah, so tell how that came about.
So we were trying to essentially come up with sort of like the hero sound in Seismic Shock, and the idea is that, well, it's obviously got to be the loudest sound on Earth.
Yes.
I mean, Seismic Shock needs that just
Absolutely.
to be thematically consistent.
Right.
So we were researching it, like, so what's the loudest sound out there? And we started reading about these facilities called acoustic test chambers.
Yep.
Which are these rooms where you can take like usually they're used for testing spacecraft equipment, so that they could to see whether or not a piece of this shuttle is going to just like explode when it launches, because there's just so much vibrational force happening. And it turns out the best way to test spacecraft for that is just to use insanely loud sounds. So there are these facilities that just have these gigantic speakers they're not normal speakers in the sense that they just blow air out. They literally they use nitrogen gas as the medium for the sound. They're nitrogen-powered oscillators that just blast whatever you put in this room with. I think it's like 170 dB or something like that, and they're using like subsonic frequencies.
Right.
So it's just like pure air pressure. So
we're way past the brown note.
Oh, it's the you're dead note.
It's the you're dead note.
No, I say this in the video, but it is true. It is lethal. If you're in the same room when this thing goes off, it's not good for you. So we one of these facilities was in the Netherlands. Called the Leaf. Mm-hmm. So we were wanting to see if we could do something with that, but it wasn't working out. And then we realized that NASA has a few of these facilities.
Yep.
Initially, we were like, well, like maybe we could just just use some pictures from them and just say that we recorded there, but
no, we have to actually do.
We can't use. We couldn't use the pictures.
Yeah,
so we're
right.
like, okay, we actually have to figure out a way to go to NASA and do this.
Yes.
So I got in contact with this amazing, really cool engineer from JPL.
Yeah.
And he was kind enough to actually let me come and visit and check out the acoustic test chamber that they have at the environmental test labs at JPL.
Right. Which is here in Pasadena.
Yeah. Part of the tradition of space technology.
That's right.
Around here. So I was just thanks to their generosity and kind of like their curiosity about what I was doing. There's sort of like a mutual interest. Sound scientist and a space scientist coming together.
You're trying to explain seismic shock to these guys that are literally, rocket scientists.
Yeah, we were. It's two different views on loud sounds.
Yes.
So
but
they
not that far about. They're both kind of about death and destruction.
In a sense. The way I like to think of it is that it's like, imagine like if like a dub sound system had nitrogen-powered oscillators, that would be like my ideal concert.
Okay.
But yeah, so they were just incredibly cool and accommodating, and we figured out a way for me to actually do a recording session in one of these chambers. The details of
you couldn't be in there.
No. I can't disclose exactly how we did it, but suffice to say, I survived.
Yay! Very, very good.
But so in order to represent this visually,
Yes.
We had to explore other avenues because
Right.
it was so top secret. They wouldn't
Yeah, they
let us
wouldn't let
take
us
video.
take pictures and everything.
Yeah. So it was like
I mean, I have some pictures here that we can take a look at. That you guys should be able to see this. Let me just full screen it for you. And so, yeah, that's how big one of these speakers is. It's pretty darn big. Yeah, look at that. That's the size of, it's like a whole, gigantic building. And those speakers are like bigger than a human. And so hopefully you guys can see that. And these are all connected to the nitrogen oscillators.
Yeah. So
you don't want to stand in front of that thing. You will die. So this is an area. Here's an example of the one of the satellites that they're testing in the room, and to see if the parts will come off.
Yeah. I mean that's the amazing thing. It's like in order to simulate rocket launch, you have to use just absurdly high dB levels.
Yes. So so that's just a little educational thing for.
Yeah. And so that was just so fun, so educational for me too. I actually got to see.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in audio knows that this even exists. That there's a whole area of audio that is designed for spacecraft testing.
It seems like there should be a bit more collaboration there.
That's right.
But it's just kind of like non-overlapping magisteria. Yeah, nice. It was so cool. I got to see the Mars rover while I was out there.
Oh,
too.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that was before it went. So you saw the actual one that went.
Which gives you an idea of how long we've been working on it.
That's right. Absolutely. So what is this? What is today like for you?
Oh, it's just amazing. It's just being able to absorb the feedback, see the responses. And just, knowing that people are finally playing with this stuff. Because at the end of the day, we all make this because we like the idea of other people using it.
Yeah.
And being inspired by it. And,
absolutely.
And so, seeing how people are checking it out, seeing, people post videos talking about it.
So cool.
That's very interesting. And, in my position as the director, it's just amazing knowing that I've played some small role in facilitating my favorite artists and sound designers on the planet making their own statements on sound design. That's a feeling that can't be beat, just knowing that you've helped bring something that you're really passionate about into the world. So. Yeah,
and that dovetails just perfectly of what Spectrasonics is about.
Totally.
Yeah. It's like we and I say this from time to time. We get to have an idea. We get to, in our job, we get to be creative, realize that idea, and then, put it out in the world for musicians and songwriter producers, creative people to be inspired to create music, which makes the world a better place. And it's like, absolutely, what better job is there than that, right? It's the greatest. So that's very similar in just that's we all feel really lucky that we get to do this.
Yeah.
That somehow, the universe aligned to where it was like this was like possible to do. I never thought I'd have a business. I never thought I'd be doing all this stuff, and that people would be responding. We're talking to people all over the world. Amazing. It's incredible. It really is incredible. So. Yeah, so man, thank you so much for all that you did to get Sonic Extensions launched,
Well, like Ignacio said, it's complete team effort,
It is.
Everyone involved is equally essential in making this happen.
Yeah, so awesome. Thank you so much, Seth.
Thank you.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, man.
All right, so we got Matt Stabile in the house.
Yeah.
And here's some shout outs. We've got Philip from Switzerland, the land of cheese and chocolate.
Amen to that.
Yay. Thank you.
Not bad.
And Jim Wilson is in the chat.
Jim!
Jim is the piano genius that, if you know the Keyscape videos, Jim is the genius of the piano and piano technician, bar none.
We love Jim.
We love Jim. So great to see you guys. So Matt, man, it is so great to have you here today. It is so exciting. Now you're like the newbie kind of this group. So you started in
2017.
2017, yeah, amazing. And you are our software development manager and manage our software development team, the amazing software developers. And man, it has just been so great to have you on this team. And hey, look at Glenn Olander's in the chat
Hey,
saying
Glenn.
hi.
Nice.
Hey, Glenn.
Glenn, good to see you. Fantastic. So Glenn is the OG.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's the OG. Actually, he's the GO and the OG, right? And that's fantastic. Never thought of it that way. But yeah, Glenn developed the steam engine originally. The Olander brothers, Glenn and Neil, and man, the contribution those guys made is incredible. What was it like for you when you started and seeing like what they had done?
Oh, it was incredible. I was just humbled coming in and checking out all the technologies they've developed is just second to none.
Yeah, we're
steam
pretty
engine.
fortunate
Yeah,
with those. Man, it's really, really incredible.
It's just been an honor to come in and continue that work along.
Awesome. So, so which Spectrasonics products have you worked on that you can talk about?
Let's see, in 2017.
Caveat.
That I can talk about, yes. When I came in, it was right before Omnisphere 2.5.
Nice.
So started
Yeah.
working on that, all the
Hardware
big stuff in that, the
integration.
hardware integration, the arpeggiator stuff.
Yeah.
That was 2.6, and then the standalones were one of my early projects.
Yeah.
To get those going.
So weird. You think there was a time before the standalones?
Yeah.
You use them like every
right.
day.
Yep.
So great.
But yeah, and then all the plugin updates since then. Lots
Yeah.
of all
Yeah.
that.
One of the things I think is really cool is that because you have done such a great job leading the team and getting our technologies in advance. I was thinking about that this week of how cool it is that we're already, our entire product line is Apple Silicon native. It doesn't run on Rosetta, it runs native, and that's the result of you guys.
That was a big job.
Yeah, killing it. And so that's huge. So that when the new MacBook Pro laptops come out, which are like we're all excited about that because they're so fast. Our plugins.
Yep, we're ready to go.
And they're gonna scream on those computers, which means you can use more of them. And
We live in exciting times. We can make more advanced DSP. And
that's
more
right,
advanced
exactly,
algorithms,
and especially because the Sonic extensions do use more DSP.
They do. Yep.
And it's like we want to be able to
Yep.
take advantage of those, so that support the underlying technology and getting that running and stable and all of that is so important.
It's the less glamorous work, but there's a lot of it. Yeah.
There's a lot of it. Yeah, fantastic. But so you came from you're originally at Line 6,
Yep.
and you're a guitarist yourself.
Yep. Yep.
And a musician. Everybody at Spectrasonics is a musician.
Yep. Yep.
And I mean, I think it sort of goes without saying, but sometimes people
Absolutely.
are surprised. It's like, no, we're all musicians,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and we're all into making this stuff. You were like a Trillion fan.
I was a Trillion fan, yeah, because I put bass and guitar and keys.
Yeah.
And, I was gigging with bands playing bass, and I got into Trillion back in
Nice.
grad school, I think. Yeah. So I was a big fan for a
Wow.
long time. Yeah.
And then you were at McDSP.
Yep.
After
Yep.
that, so yeah, some really
And on
fine
effects
companies.
plugin design. Yep.
And people that are innovators and make really
Absolutely.
high quality stuff. So
Absolutely.
you were just such a fantastic fit for
Yeah.
our team.
It was amazing opportunity to come work with you guys.
Yeah,
Best
so
team.
that's, man, we're so, how often do we say in Dev, we love Matt?
Really, really, really often.
Very often. It's about me daily. We love Matt. We just love Matt. So it's fantastic. So talk a little bit about the effects design.
Yeah.
I think that's something that that really got, especially when we dropped all this stuff yesterday, and everyone's like, okay, so it's like a patch library, and they like completely missed that there's like these incredible game-changing effects in there. And so talk a little bit about.
So one of the big design goals on those was to introduce all new, really advanced DSP algorithms to Omnisphere that are really next generation above everything that's in there. So behind the scenes on the SCFX, there's analog models, EQs, compressors, tube saturators, analog enhancers, tape saturation simulation, mixing desk simulations. And so each of those is packed, which you don't really see on the surface. But they're all there. That's why they take a lot more CPU than the previous effects did. And the goal was just to take them to the next level. And then the very important goal for that was the design. So all of them are developed in tight synchronization with the sound designers, specifically for each title. So that was the really fun part for me is Seth came up with the crazy seismic effects. And he had these cutting edge production techniques that he wanted to achieve, the side chaining effect and seismic pump and hyper compressed reverbs and seismic verb. And he said, here, Matt, this is what we want to do.
So I got to torture you. Incredibly loud, obnoxious effects.
That's right. So that was the really fun part about developing these was working in, there's a lot of back and forth with the sound designers and tons of, just like with the custom controls, tons of thought into the range of every control. Like the smash control on seismic verb is what it's doing behind the scenes is incredible. I mean, there's all these different levels of compressors coming in, multi-band characteristics and gain compensation, just all in the twist of a knob. So we poured a lot of energy into fine-tuning like every single knob.
Yeah, the end user just sees smash.
Yeah, they just see smash.
When you turn it up, it's like, whoa. Like, wow.
But I mean, we listened to compressed reverb tails till our ears were bleeding. Dialing in, okay, if you put the smash knob at 57%, there's a weird clicking sound, let's get rid of that.
Right. And, what was the amount of dB compression?
It was insane, the compressor chain in seismic verb.
dB.
It's above 60 dB.
I was like, why am I hearing this thing? And Matt's like, it's because you have 70 dB of gain.
He asked why it was oscillating out of control when he put a little signal into it. And I was like, well, that's what happens when you have that much gain.
And then the incredible thing is that you figured out how to fix that.
We did,
I mean, this is the genius of Matt, is that you can understand crazy like artist sound designer speak.
What we're trying to do musically.
And we have no idea what we're saying like technically, and you can distill that into the DSP. And create something that is really musical and artistic coming out of that, which is like that must be insanely hard to do. So we're very grateful.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a fun collaboration.
I'm glad you enjoy it.
Absolutely.
If you didn't, we'd be in trouble. So that's fantastic. So what is today like for you? Seeing this, because
it's just amazing to see Sonic extensions unleashed to the public. These babies of every sound designer. Each title, the response has been incredible to watch and be here with all of you guys.
That's so great. Thank you so much for coming down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once again, we say in unison, we love
Matt.
Man.
Let me give the shout out to Neil Olander.
Yes, of course, absolutely. Neil.
We love Neil too.
And Glenn Olander again too.
Absolutely.
All of my work is built on top of theirs.
Built on top of theirs.
Incredible achievements that they've had over the years.
So.
The brain trust.
The brain trust. The geniuses. Fantastic. All right. So hey, we got Diego Sacco in the chat. Our buddy Diego. Cheers to you, buddy.
Pizza.
And Game Boy Z says that Sonic Extensions is amazing. So awesome. It's really incredible to see like actually people using it and feeding back. And it's like
cool.
Surreal. It is. It's just kind of surreal. All right. Now we're on to Tolga Gurpinar. Yay! So Tolga and I go way back.
Yeah, we do.
And we have a pretty interesting history that is unlike anybody else I've ever worked with. And so Tolga is from Istanbul, and he's now our director of design. And And when did we start working? Was it
2002?
2002.
The end of 2002.
End of 2002.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And of course, Tolga is the artisan of Unclean Machine. And so Unclean Machine is his baby. But yeah, how we started was wild. Tell a little bit about how we kind of discovered each other on the internet.
Okay. Well, I need to go, rewind it a little
Of course.
back.
Yeah.
In year 1994, JD 990 was out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was a, teenager.
Which we did at Roland R&D
Yeah.
LA.
I remember it well.
So you were a teenager and you bought a JD980?
Well, I need to save a lot of money first. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I was just going to that shop and, looking at it in the window.
Really?
I think it took a year. I finally got the one.
Oh man, that's amazing.
And then, I was amazed with that synth. It was way, 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 much, incredible synth for me compared to my, previous synths. And first time I see Eric's name in the, when I was first trying the, demo tracks in the JD and Eric Persing. Then shortly after I learned about, Eric being the chief sound designer of Roland, and he made like all those iconic sounds in many of those synths, like D50s, like the GV lines, Genos, and stuff like that. Then I already became a fan. So, then with the vocal expansion board for the, I also had the GV after, I put it on that. And that was the first time I learned about Spectrasonics.
Oh, from the expansion board?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, me neither. I learned from So, but a couple years later, when samplers become more accessible, like sound phones, Giga Sampler, and stuff like that, there was this French guy I knew, and I traded my vocal board with his Akai distorted reality CDs, and I'm not sure if this was legal.
It was a Spectrasonics product for another Spectrasonics.
Well, I think it's
we'll let
fair,
it pass.
Then, I was like, wow, it's just like, well, I didn't hear anything like that before. It's like musical sounds you play, but they are total, something. And that really changed how I do my music. And then after that, I start using, other Spectrasonics products at the time. Then in year 2000, software synths became a thing.
Right.
And
very exciting time.
Yeah, and the Reason came and a few other plugins. And Reason was exciting because it's just complete studio type of thing.
Groundbreaking.
And so just for fun at the time, I did some 3D renderings of some Reason devices, like you're in the studio with all those, subtractor, all those synths and the mixer and all that stuff. And some people really, dug those at the time. And I put those on my website. And I was also linking from my website to Eric's review of Reason.
Yes.
So
we used to have product reviews on Spectrasonics.net.
Right.
That I wrote.
Then, things were just normal, Then, maybe 6 months later or something, it's morning, I go to my computer, checking my emails, and what? There is an email from Eric Persing to me. What? Yeah, that was kind of shocking for me, You know, I knew him very well at that point, but like how this happens.
Yeah.
Okay, I started reading the email, and so Eric saw those 3D resin emails, and really liked those. And so he just came with the idea of doing like a ad campaign for the Spectrasonics instruments at that time for like for similar concept.
Yeah, with atmosphere and
trilogy. And that was the first. I said, yeah, I mean, let's give it a try. And you know, we worked on it like a month or so, and kind of wrapped it. I mean, they came out good, and we enjoyed working with each other.
Yeah.
And then, like maybe a few months later, Eric came back and asking me if I want to work on the next Spectrasonics instruments interface design.
Yeah.
And that's how we actually started it.
Right.
And after, like, that was to...
that was like, RMX, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, before that, there were some stuff.
Yes. We won't talk about those.
No. So I think early 2003, just we start, you know, working with each other daily, every day through email, and but until 2008.
Right. But I have to jump in because the thing that was shocking for me was I had a nightmare just trying to develop graphics and interface stuff. I just hadn't had success working with anybody locally, or you know. And then suddenly I'm working with this guy in Istanbul over
like 10
email.
hours difference.
Yeah, and we're working in real time. We're working like 7 days a week. Everything's going great. As soon as I start to think of something, he's already made it, you know, before I've even told him. And so we had this kind of a strange connection just creatively, because you're into synths, we have similar tastes. So you're like, you know, it's like, wow, like kind of the other half of the visual half of my creative brain is in Turkey. and we're able to do these things really, really easily. And it was so much fun to work together, and it was easy. It was like, yeah, we'll do this and that, and everything just came together so fast. And so yeah, we just kept going, and we kept making more instruments. We kept making, you know, all kinds of, you know, the ads and everything. Boxes, you know. Yeah, everything. And then right around, I guess it was by the time we finished Omnisphere in 2008, I realized here's this person I've been working with for years. It was really a really important part of our development process. I don't know what he looks like. I've never met him. I don't know what his voice sounds like or anything. It's just this email relationship, and it's like, so we have to fix that for Omnisphere. So that was the first time you came to the US, right?
Yes.
And that was 2008 for the launch of Omnisphere.
Yeah.
And that was the first time we had been working together and made all these things together, and it was the first time we met in person. And first time, I had no idea what you looked like or anything. So.
Well, I had an idea how you sound like from the Akai CDs. I think the copyright.
Oh yeah, right. Amazing. Yeah. So it was, it was an amazing, you know, connection, and to have worked that long, it's still amazing to me.
Yeah, I mean, to me too. I mean, because for me, like my personal experience, you know, I got excited about synths when I was a kid, and then the Roland synth, Eric is there, and he did all those, you know, synths and stuff. Then we just suddenly start working together, and it just worked very smoothly.
It still clicks.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And so all these years later, now you're a U.S. citizen, and you got your green card and all that stuff.
Yeah, I got lucky.
Yeah, so that was totally amazing. And so you've you've worked on Stylus R Max, Trillion, Omnisphere, Keyscape, basically the entire product line. And then that was another huge surprise for me was when you started sending me patches, and I'm like, these guys' patches are really cool. They're like super different sounding, and just a unique. Like there's a Tolga sound, and so you just send me stuff from time to time. It wasn't like just check this out, and it's like those are great. Let's put those in the products. And then people started connecting with them, and then that grew and grew, and basically until we had the Retroland category, and of basically all those kinds of sounds, and your stuff. There's tons of your stuff in that category. So yeah, it was fun to say, you know what, we should do a whole sonic extension for these Retroland kind of sounds, and it's got to be your title. So what was the process like for making that, and like how did you get into retro sounds and stuff?
I mean, I got into like specifically making retro sounds. Well, I mean, I'm an 80s kid, raised with home keyboards, cassette tape, and parents' vinyls and all that stuff. But when I really start digging into making those kind of sounds and using them in my music, actually, like my inspiration was like from bands like Boards of Canada, and BBO. So this is like kind of maybe a second-hand type of inspiration. I mean, those guys like inspired from a lot of things from 70s, 80s, and even early hip hop. But also it's interesting like that their work then inspired like the current hip hop, for example. So it's like a cycle.
Yeah, it's amazing. But yeah, you're so good at that. You just have you have the touch. So what was the process like for making Unclean?
It wasn't very scientific, and it was a long process.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I'm not really like a collector of all those rare scents or stuff. It was more like showing love to what you have around that are accessible to you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here in Spectrasonics,
we have a lot of stuff. We have a lot of stuff. Yeah.
So anyway, I started with messing with some synths, some toys, some acoustic, weird instruments. Mostly recording them, then processing them. Also, also did some, more sound design-ish type of things, and running those through, trying all the different things, like running them through cassette tape or some vintage effects or modern effects and all that stuff. But I mean, when I got into the patches, but especially considering the custom controls and scenes and stuff. So now what you're dealing with is not really a snapshot of so you need to really think differently. You need to again show love. And the more you work on it, and the same thing actually, then it improves and improves. You come up with ideas, a new scene or change the control and stuff. So that part was really long. But I mean, at the end, now you have that, experience with each patch, where you have that really, those controls that shape that specific sound.
Just the right controls.
Right, and you have those scenes, showing those examples. You can jump between, or even, they're even useful for like automating. In a song, like those. Some key parameters to automate are there too.
Wow.
Can I interject
Yes.
my memory about Tolga working on Unclean Machine?
Sure.
The way I remember it is, Tolga basically disappeared for a while.
Yes.
And then resurfaced and basically sent us kind of like almost sort of like a mixtape, just sort of compilation.
Oh
of different
yeah, the mixtape.
patch ideas,
yeah.
just like all these, and like every single one was just like
incredible.
what?
Incredible.
Like
yeah,
this is
amazing.
Yeah, it was like fully formed, like the
Yep.
core of it right there.
It was the very first version was like, oh, this is going to be incredible.
Yeah, it was just magical.
Well, I mean, I think that, you know, what happened at that time for me, that was also weird. Like, I think it was kind of like a 4-day vacation time or
Okay.
something.
Right.
So everybody, like, the office was empty.
Oh yeah, that's
I
right.
collected my bag, went to the office where we have this, you
Yeah.
know, one of the new studio rooms.
Right, the
like,
live room, yeah.
And like, I basically live in the building for 3 nights, 4 days, just trying stuff. That's how I kind of managed to, at least get a chunk of the stuff together.
Sometimes you need that push in the beginning.
Yeah, that was totally a new experience for me, and yeah, I think that was it worked well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the results were just so impressive, like right out of the gate.
Talk a little bit about the. Well, we can talk about the unclean effects in a little bit, but I want to just tell you how much I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being here, and especially I appreciate you agreeing to do this title, because we kind of had to. Ignacio and I had to kind of convince him to. It's like, you need to do a title because you're so good, and so I'm so glad you did, and the world is richer for it. A lot of people are checking it out, and so thank you for doing it, and thanks for being part of the live.
Of course,
stream.
I'm proud to be part of this.
Yeah,
One of
awesome,
you guys.
awesome, very, very cool. All right, shout out to Neil in the chat.
Neil!
Yeah, awesome. And wow, Canary Islands, that's crazy.
Whoa.
Wow.
Belgium, got all kinds of people coming.
Awesome.
Man.
So this is amazing. So in fact, why don't we, let's transition now and open it up to questions from the internet that we can. So the first question is why did we make SE?
Oh, wow.
Why did we make Sonic Extensions?
Wow.
Why not?
Why not? Exactly.
That's a good question, though.
Great philosophical answer.
It is.
I took a class in college where the question was why. If you answered why not, you get an A.
Nice.
Anything else? If you answered because, you get a B, and then
Oh,
anything
nice.
else.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. I feel good
Yeah.
about my answer then. No, it was really important to us to develop some kind of a platform where we could do specific ideas that didn't make sense as a virtual instrument of their own, like a standalone virtual instrument, but were also too big to be an update and having only upgrades as the way to add sounds is limiting, especially when you're talking about a 10 gig guitar like we were talking about.
Yeah.
It's really important to be able to have an avenue where we can explore an idea deeply and create this kind of little sonic universe within Omnisphere. And so that's why we did it. We really needed another way to be able to add new sounds, and then now it grew into these. It's basically a whole new experience, because you have the sounds, the way the custom controls interact with the sounds, and the effects, and it's like it's a whole new thing.
Yep.
It's not like a sound library. All right, Ryan Strong asks, have you researched using artificial intelligence in your instruments? That's an interesting question.
Well, I do have a patch called Talent Simulator. So maybe that's kind of like a similar idea.
That's where it's coming from.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the algorithmic things that we do, kind of are in that category. Like, how would you respond to that, Matt?
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the artificial intelligence stuff is more focused on offline stuff. So since we're real-time virtual instruments,
yes,
those kind of, that's a buzzword nowadays.
Yeah,
the whole artificial intelligence thing. That's makes sense in the context of offline mastering or all of these things that analyze signals and or collect samples in an intelligent way, and that would be maybe some way we could expand it in the future if we were to use artificial intelligence, like a way to browse our sounds, more efficiently.
Sure.
So there's avenues we could explore like that.
And that's like things like sound match.
Yeah, exactly.
That's sort of like
but we have similar
AI type
technologies.
thing.
Yeah. So there's something like sound match is pretty close.
Yeah, awesome. All right, next question is, what are the custom controls doing and how did they come about? So the custom controls are connected to all sorts of parameters per patch, per knob, behind the scenes, like we were talking about, where you can get these sweet spots and extreme effects. And it's a creative tool for the sound designer to create an experience with a knob, and also the layout of the controls and an experience. It's like each one's like got a little synth front panel. Sometimes it has 4 knobs, sometimes it has, a bunch of things. So it's very, very powerful for us to use to create these next level sounds and experiences. And they came about as a result of all that groundwork, software, basically having all those tools, behind the scenes, and so that's been in the works for a long time, and so
I remember the first day I came down for a custom controls lesson from Ignacio.
Yeah,
those were the days.
And you went through the whole thing. You showed me the whole thing.
I remember
what it was, and then you said, "So what do you want to do?" And I just stared at it. I know. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
What do I want to do? There's that's like option overload.
Totally.
Like, wow.
But like in the example of Nylon Sky, it's a good like a simple example of it, without going into like what you're doing with Seismic Shock, where you have 35.
Well,
things you
that's
control.
where I was at. Yeah. It's like treble.
Yeah, right. But something like taking the multi-channel audio mic sources that Omnisphere can do, but you have to go to on the Omnisphere, regular Omnisphere interface, you have to go to the sound source zoom, go to the right page, and understand if it's there. Yeah. And so so that's a good example of just being able to bring like those important microphone signals to the center of the interface when you have those available. That's a real easy to understand thing of like, if like this is the parameters kind of buried. Yep. But for this guitar, it's critical that we have it. And the reason it's buried, the reason it's buried on the interface is because most of the sound sources are not multi-channel audio. But if they are, you're going to really want to bring those controls up. So so that's kind of a couple of examples of like how they're useful. Hugo says, any plans to make specific hip hop or trap extensions?
Have you tried Unclean Machine and Seismic Shock?
Yes, you need to try those first, because especially so many of the popular trap producers and trap songs are using the sounds from Omnisphere's Retroland category, including, a lot of people know about In Memoriam because it's been used so many times, and Tolga is actually the guy who created In Memoriam. So explain how you made In Memoriam.
I mean, that one was kind of simple for me, because I mean often you want to explore new sounds, you don't know where you're going, but for that specific sound, I exactly knew what I wanted. I mean, we have that beautiful guitarette sound source in the library, which is
a Hohner, very strange Hohner instrument.
Yeah, and I mean, you actually plug it.
Yeah, like a cross between a kalimba and a Rhodes or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a beautiful electric piano, but also bell type of thing.
Yeah, it's unique.
Yeah, so I wanted to make a version of it, kind of lo-fi, dark, deep, but still very playable.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it came out.
That's awesome. Were you surprised the first time you heard it? on a hit record.
I think I heard it for a while, didn't recognize it. I mean, in some tracks I like, then it danged in later.
Wait, that's me.
That's that sound.
Right.
Yeah, and I heard it in a couple of places. Then I saw some people talking about it on the internet.
Yep. So now the secret is out.
Yeah.
Tolga is the creator of so many of those kind of sounds, and so it's fantastic to have Unclean Machine where it's all dedicated to that, and there's tons and tons of new ones. Someone is asking if sonic extensions is what we're doing instead of upgrades, like for Omnisphere. The answer is no. It's in addition to upgrades. So we'll still have free patch updates like we've done in the past. We'll still have paid upgrades where we expand all of our instruments in big ways. And so sonic extensions is something new that we're doing in addition to that. Okay, we got to see this a little bit yesterday. Some people were like, boy, this is more expensive than I thought. Why is that? And those people are often people that think that it's a patch library. And it's like, well, I can get a patch library for $30. Why are these higher priced? Well, it's important to kind of put into context of like what actually you're getting in a sonic extension. First of all, patch library is just patches. And it's something they're great. We have, like we were saying, hundreds of third-party patch libraries, which are awesome. A few of them have sound sources, but most of them are just patches. And so it's one of the only. So when you're talking about that kind of product, that's the kind of product that you can make in maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. That's why there's so many of them, and there's some great ones, but they don't usually have a lot of sounds. They have kind of it's like a focused little sort of a small set of sounds, and they're just patches. There's not usually samples, or if there are samples, there's very few. So comparing that to sonic extensions, which is gigantic. So, each of these, we have several of the titles that are in the 2,000 sounds range. You're talking about, many, many gigabytes, and not something that took a couple weeks to make, but something that took years to make, and tremendous expertise and all of that kind of thing. So this is really like, it's the fine wine of these kind of sounds. That's the sort of
the effects.
Yeah, and yes, and lest I forget, you're talking about effects. So for example, some people were saying the price for the four, comparing them, and so it's helpful to remember that if you buy all four right now, that's over 6,000 sounds, brand new sounds. It's 8 brand new top of the line DSP effects that are incredible, and then of course custom controls and all of that, and that's about $100 each. So I don't think it's expensive. I think it's a good price. But it is a pro product. It is absolutely a pro product. Mm-hmm. So so that's why they're priced that way. Someone's asking if, speaking of the effects, are these effects new DSP code?
Yes, absolutely. All new DSP.
All new DSP. Yes, fantastic. And you talked a little bit about how they were developed.
Yeah.
And
very carefully.
Very carefully. right. All right. What's our next question? Let's see what we've got coming up here. People are asking, will there be more sonic extensions? I'm happy to announce, yes, there will, of course. I thought it was interesting seeing people thinking it was just going to be these 4, but no, the idea is we're opening a new channel where we can now, now that we have figured out how to do it, we can make more. And we've got all sorts of interesting things in the pipeline and planned, so very exciting. Another common question we're getting is, can I use these effects on my DAW? And right now, you are limited in using those inside Omnisphere. Those are they're part of Omnisphere's code, and so when you're using them, you can use them on anything inside Omnisphere, And what's cool is that you can actually use your own audio because you can drag and drop the audio from your desktop or from your DAW into Omnisphere, and then you can use all the effects on your audio in there. So there is a way to do it. It's just not like, it's not a separate plugin.
If I may interject,
yes.
one other cool thing, it's not necessarily a limitation that you can only use them in Omnisphere, because what you can do with effects in Omnisphere is actually, in some ways, beyond what you can do with them in a DAW.
Of course.
You can modulate them, you can use our aux rack. I mean, there's just so many creative possibilities just using effects in Omnisphere.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, any interesting instruments or devices that were sampled for sonic extensions? Well, we happen to have one right here. Tolga, you want to talk about the Celestiphone?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of the, you know, so many different random things.
Yes.
Almost I recorded, sampled. And for this one, obviously, I wasn't creating a representation of the Celestiphone, like where normally you would play it like this type of sound. Nice. But I wanted to have like some raw material out of this that I can use in the patches. So, I mean, one thing, maybe if I try to show it, I don't know
go ahead.
if it will
Yeah,
sound good,
sure.
or, you know, I wanted to have like a kind of just using one of the, I mean, there are 2 strings for each key. I just used one and kind of muted it. Oh, sorry. I think I picked it. I used the, yeah. So this is kind of like a violin,
Bob,
physical.
we tried 10 different picks on this.
I don't have my
I was trusting Bob, but
I left him at the hotel.
then I also kind of recorded did a multi-sample where actually it just hits one, so you don't get the detune thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bounce, but that's really useful to have in the in the
those are
sound source library.
Those are things you can do that you can't do when you play the instrument itself.
Yeah. And I created like 3, more like D50 type of just single stretch, attack transient type of things with it as well.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, use those in a bunch of patches, you know, in different ways.
Awesome. Awesome. We also have the moisturizer.
Yes.
Tell us about the moisturizer.
This device.
We're not talking about hand cream.
No, it's a spring river.
It's
That's an internal joke.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming.
This device is pretty great. It's a nice device to run anything through it, basically. You can distort things, filter them, and the start of the device is the spring here. So you get a spring river, but the way I used it in Undercurrent was not just that way to process stuff, but to grab a cello bow and bow this, an E-bow, and just hitting it in all kinds of ways. So you'll find sound sources in Undercurrent where there are hits with round robins, multiple velocities, there's another sound source that's a menu of effects. So each key on the keyboard has a different effect created by running stuff through this device or again, bowing it or just making noises, basically. And it's a great, great source of surprises, sonic surprises. So very happy with this device. Yeah. It's played a pretty big part in the source of Undercurrent.
Yeah, you never know what it'll be. Sometimes it's small like that, you know. It's just
you never know.
Kind of a genius thing and makes all these great sounds.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it was a lot of fun, and there's many stories like that that I'm sure we can all share, but maybe some other time.
Yes. Seth, speaking of devices, why don't we? Let's say, if you saw the both of the walkthrough and the featurette, you'll see Seth switching this strange-looking military device in order to activate seismic shock
That's right.
And so we've had people say, why is he faking that and all that sort of stuff. But we have a surprise.
Yeah. So this is an incredible piece of singular equipment that was created by a genius MIDI instrument creator named Moldover. We found out about Moldover through our friend Gil Glasses.
Yeah.
Moldover made this iconic arcade button controller that Gil uses in a lot of demos. So I was looking for kind of cool looking stuff to put in the video for Seismic, and I stumbled across this thing, which is actually a vintage Air Force test equipment box. So essentially you would hook this up to like the electrical system of like a fighter jet and like run diagnostics on it with this thing. Of course, it wasn't functional when I picked it up, but it just looked so cool. It looked so beefy. So I hit up Moldover and I was like, hey, I have this like crazy piece of like Army surplus equipment. Can you add MIDI to this? And he did. I don't know how he did it, but it's just absolutely incredible. He hollowed out the insides of it and put like a whole custom like MIDI system on the inside. So these switches actually trigger different LEDs, and the amazing thing is actually each one of these knobs actually sends MIDI CCs. Of course, we have a vintage Air Force test equipment box that has a USB MIDI jack on the back.
Yeah.
Just like they had back in the day.
Yeah. Shall we show them how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. So you have a Seismic shock patch up right now. So so go ahead and right click on that big mix knob in the middle.
Okay.
And click on MIDI CC Learn. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to turn this knob.
Look at that.
And there we go.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So you can do that with all these knobs.
It's real.
It's real.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And I have to say, it's actually incredibly satisfying.
Yeah.
To control like huge bass sounds using this like piece of military equipment.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Moldover actually made 2 of these. The other one isn't here, but this is just kind of the most visually striking one. But I mean, he even got it so like the dial moves when you. This like analog dial,
right.
The knob. It's just incredible. So in the videos, I'm literally controlling Omnisphere with this thing, and it's amazing. Cool. So Moldover is awesome. He actually has an installation at Meow Wolf right now, which is really cool, and he is kind of ramping up a new business to make more controllers like this. So you should definitely check him out.
Fantastic, awesome. Thank you, Moldover.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was really fun. He didn't even know what it was for.
No, yeah.
For a long time. He found out about yesterday.
He literally just found out yesterday what this was being used for, because he was kind of like, why? Like,
yeah, what is it? Yeah.
But just absolutely brilliant work. I'm so happy with it, and I can't wait to like take this on stage with me.
Yeah, absolutely. And if Synthplex happens.
Yes,
next year?
This will be whatever trade show we do next
that
we have SE at. This will be there if you want to play.
It'll be fun to play around with. So that gets to the fun story, right? Because we've had to remind ourselves many times that if we're not having fun doing this, then what's the point?
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of thing we'll do, even though it doesn't actually affect the product. We'll do crazy stuff like that just to stay inspired and have fun, So Tolga, someone's asking, the Unclean featurette, the animation you did was very cool. How did you make that?
Well, I mean, that was a nice challenge. I mean, the story of it for me is kind of, okay, at some point we kind of came up with the idea of it would be nice for me to do an animated music video for Unclean machine.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, I mean, and we didn't have the music. I mean,
right.
And I would need to do the video. And so I was, because, you kind of need something to get the, inspiration. The music inspires the video inspires some new music, that type of thing. Right. Just at the right time, Quay Charles from Spectrasonics team just came up with the perfect track just by coincidence. That's same awesome. Week, they're like sharing the aesthetics of what I would want in the video.
Yeah.
So, you know, big special thanks to him.
Yeah. Quay.
Nice. And then, well, also the challenge was trying to use the kind of the visual elements from the cover and the stuff in the video. So I had to kind of, you know, learn some new things quickly in a few days, like some new software. I mean, it wasn't really that hard, like the Adobe Character Animator and stuff like that. And,
sure.
And there are like, you know, I wanted to be also a little trippy.
Yeah.
And there are some references, at least for me, like when I was a kid, I was obsessed with cathode tubes, CRT tubes, just the tube itself.
Right.
And when I was 3 or 4, my father told me that he can actually teleport me to the other side of the TV.
Your dad told you this?
He told me that as a joke.
That explains a lot.
Why?
I took it serious for several months, like watching every movie, like, you know, the bad guy is chasing the good guy. Like, should I be teleported? Ask my father to teleport me there so I can help the, you know, the good guy. Like, it was, you know, a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But eventually, you know, okay, it doesn't work like that. I learned.
Yeah, good.
But, you know, in the video, you know, you see the, you know, our robot guy kind of fall into the void and comes up on the, you know, on the other side of the CRT TV and a few things like that. So it was a fun project.
That's cool. And of course, all of the components from the cover were all what you used to make the animation and everything. So yeah, that's cool. That was really, really fun. All right, let's see. We've got, okay, we can't get away without answering the big question. What about RMX? Of course, everyone's, and so shall we say it in unison? We haven't forgotten about rhythm. That's what we can tell you. So, but actually, there has been, we're supporting it, and that was part of the Apple Silicon transition. So we just released a recent version of it that runs native on Apple Silicon. So, yeah, so you'll just have to see. That's all I can tell you. We haven't forgotten about rhythm. All right, another question not related to SE. Will there be new sounds for Keyscape? Yes, of course. Of course there will be. We've got all sorts of plans for all the instruments and lots of things in the works. So. Here's another question. Does Sonic Extensions work with hardware integration? And that's a good question. It does work with it. However, when you're changing parameters on the hardware, oftentimes that instantiates specific filters or specific effects. And so you can break, if you're using the hardware integration, depending on what synth you're using and what combination of buttons you press, you can break the custom controls. So there's not a simple solution for that necessarily because they're sort of two different projects. So it does work, but tread carefully.
And
that's a good way to put it.
But you can certainly use anything that sends MIDI to MIDI learn
custom
controls, which is, as we've demonstrated, is very fun.
Yes. Yeah. Will there ever be rents to own? No. Simple as that. That's just not a business model we're interested in. I know people like it. Certainly with the instruments, though, with Omnisphere Keyscape and Trillion and Stylus RMX, those are also physical products that are sold through the retailers. And so we really recommend anybody that's interested in rent to own, especially if you don't have Omnisphere yet or Keyscape, go to your local dealer and get the box. Hold that box up there. And So that's the box. It comes with a USB drive. It's great, and it's sold at music stores all over the world. And many of them have payment plans and discounts and that kind of stuff. So, so if you're interested in that kind of a model, payment plan at a retailer is a good way to go. Another good question. What are the new features that were added to Omnisphere 2.8 for sonic extensions? Well, there's a released list that shows them all. Yep. But kind of the biggest new features were the things that were added to the arpeggiator for Nylon Sky, which is the strumming modes. Those are available to every user. You don't have to have Nylon Sky to use them, but that's an example of how we are expanding capabilities in Omnisphere based on the needs of sonic extensions. So that has all the strumming modifiers in the arpeggiator, and also the new humanity and life controls, which are really, really cool. Another question, any plans to work with artists and composers for future sonic extensions? You'll just have to see. You'll just have to see, yes.
There's a customer question I saw in a couple of different forums. So there was one person that was kind of saying, well, Unclean machine patches sounded a little too lo-fi for my taste.
Sure.
And there was another guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded a little not enough lo-fi for me. So
of course.
Here's a solution for that. For each patch, you have the perfect controls, especially on the lower half of them, where you can make it more lo-fi or less lo-fi.
Yes.
You have the drift, the noise, the filtering. You can cut the top, and like you can saturate depending on the patch. So,
that's a really important point. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the whole idea of the custom controls. People are so used to just sort of blasting through patches and Omnisphere of just like play, 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 play. It doesn't have what I want. That's what the controls are for. And they're really easy to use. You don't have to be an expert in synthesis or a sound designer. You can really control them. It's not, using the custom controls is not that much different than like an effects pedal or something like that. You know, it's really musical and easy to use. And so that's a perfect example.
Try the scenes.
And try the scenes. Try the scenes. The scenes are amazing. If you haven't tried the scenes yet, make sure you do. And remember that you can use the left-right keys on the ASCII keyboard to browse them, and up and down ASCII keys to browse patches. So you can do like 3D browsing now, which is very, very cool. Will there be boxed versions of sonic extensions? No, we don't have plans for that. It's more of a digital download type of product. How can I use these new effects on my own audio? We kind of covered that, but basically it's you import the audio file into Omnisphere. It's real easy. Just drag and drop, and then there's your audio. Pull up the effects in the effects rack. You're good to go. All right, fantastic. Well, I think it's about time that we announce our giveaway winner. Do we have a winner of the giveaway of who the artist is represented on these album covers? We need a drum roll or something. Whoa, we do! Philip Meadow is the winner.
Philip Meadow.
And the answer is Synergy is the name of the group, and that is Larry Fast's group. And so Larry Fast was one of the pioneers of electronic music, along with Wendy Carlos and Tomita, and really, that same seminal work he did on those Synergy records. I'm a huge fan of those, and I feel it's really important that more electronic musicians discover his work, because he's so great. And what the work that he's done that most people know is he was the synthesis for Peter Gabriel on all of the early Peter Gabriel records. And so that is that's very cool that somebody figured it out. And it's exciting too, because Larry Fast is a customer, and he's an Omnisphere user, and he's on the tribute library too on that. So, and a great supporter of the Bob Moog Foundation. So
sweet.
Shout out to Larry Fast, and that's really, really exciting. So Philip, enjoy enjoy your sonic extensions, all 4. That's pretty cool. Awesome. Fantastic. I was hoping somebody would get it.
Yeah.
All right, one last question. Can you save your own scenes? Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, you can overwrite any of the scenes. And so one thing I want to say to Philip is, could you please send Spectrasonics an email, info@spectrasonics.net, and we'll make sure that you get your sonic extensions. All right, wow, this is amazing. This has been super fun to do this. Definitely. And yeah, we've never done anything quite like this. And I want to just thank each of you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's really, really been fun. And I want to give a special thanks to our tech crew, all of you guys on cameras, yay! Yeah. And man, our facility looks crazy today. And also to the amazing tech support team
Yes!
at Spectrasonics. And they prepared for this launch really, really well.
Killed.
They are the best in the business. They're so, so good. And our web store staff, customer service. Yay! And finally, to the brains behind Spectrasonics, who never appears in anything, my wife, Lori.
Thanks, Lori.
Who is a huge part of Sonic Extensions and the concepts and everything about it. And so shout out to my lovely wife, Lori. All right, so we're going to sign off. Thanks for doing this and for coming and hanging out with us. So go to the site, sonicextensions.com, to check out all the demos, the sounds, and everything. So thanks.
Thank you.
Woo!
Yes.